Hi, I'm Eddie Hartnett, and as the president of CHASA, I know the organization is committed to the health and safety of all student athletes. One of these areas is arm overuse in baseball. It's a national issue, and one that CHASA has taken a leadership role in over the past 12 months. The educational video that you are watching provides players, parents, and coaches with the resources and information to help the players enjoy their baseball careers. I urge you to listen to these experts. They have the athlete's best interest at heart.
When Yahoo Sports' Jeff Passan wrote about pitching, "It's too late to save this generation," it sparked a need to seek more information about arm injuries and where we could help our high school players. I'm Bert Borgman, CHASA Assistant Commissioner and Liaison for the sport of baseball. Over the past 3 years, a committee of dedicated coaches, former Major League pitchers, school administrators, athletic trainers, and doctors have worked to help change the culture of Colorado high school baseball. The initial part was changing our thinking of counting innings for pitchers to counting pitches. That goes into effect in 2016. The second part was developing this video and providing the necessary information to encourage parents, players, and coaches to take responsibility for keeping arms safe. This is not a case of "that's not the way we did it when I played." That's the past, and the science shows us we weren't very smart back then. Thanks to groups like USA Baseball, Major League Baseball, and the National Federation of State High School Associations, we have the data to make Passan's dire observation a thing of the past. For the youth coaches, USA Baseball's Pitch Smart program gives you a great guide to pitch counts, and CHASA has developed its policy for high school players. These new pitching rules, whether USA Baseball or CHASA, hold everyone accountable. They are plainly stated and easy to follow. It's everyone's responsibility to know how many pitches a player has thrown. We all want to win, but our purpose has to be to keep our players safe, and the new rules on pitch counts and the focus on arm overuse is a great start.
Every throw a kid makes today is a competitive pitch. They don't go outside, they don't have fun, they don't throw enough, but they're competing and maxing out too hard, too early, and that's why we're having these problems.
There's kids getting Tommy John at 15, 16 years old. That's the highest rate right now, is 15 to 18 years old who are getting these procedures.
It's an epidemic. I want to encourage the families and parents that are out there to understand that this is not normal to have a surgery at 14 and 15 years old.
5% of all of our young pitchers will have some type of serious injury when they're 20 years of age. So when they get to 20, 5% will either have an injury that requires surgery, will be season-ending or career-ending. But the thing is, these are all preventable injuries. If we listen to the pain, if we don't pitch through fatigue, if we don't pitch through decreased accuracy, these injuries are 100% preventable.
Our new draft choices every year come from high school and college rounds, and these kids are all injured. Majority of them already had surgery. They've missed significant time, whereas 15, 20 years ago, almost all of them came in healthy. For me, it's a flux of overusage, no time off, and becoming specialized in baseball at too early of an age.
Baseball's not meant to be played year-round, especially pitching. There's not a pitcher on this planet that pitches every day or even every other day. We're now, with the advent of all the traveling teams and the camps and all that, we're actually asking these kids to get ready for the next season just weeks after the prior season ended. And that's really sad, because that's where overuse injuries come from, in my opinion.
I do see a big issue with arm overuse in youth athletes, not just high school kids, but even younger. You've got coaches who want to run a specific kid out there because he's the best arm on the team, because they want to win the game. They forget that it's about player development. It's about growing these kids and allowing them to learn the game of baseball and worry about winning later down the road, but you have to develop a good foundation for a lot of kids. I see a lot of kids that have, especially in younger kids, that have what's called Little League elbow or Little League shoulder, where you get separation in the growth plates, and now that kid's shut down for 2 months. No physical activity for 2 months. That's tough to do to an athlete, to tell him to stop doing anything.
Overuse injuries in the upper extremity are most common when we have rapid growth phase. And for a young girl, that's going to be usually early middle school years, maybe even late elementary years. So speaking about, maybe 9 to 12 years of age. But for a young man, that's going to be a little bit later. So typically in that middle school age group and then early high school age group. So when they're growing that quickly, the growth plates are wide open and they're the weak link in the chain, in that musculoskeletal chain. So that's when we get the most pressures and stress on those growth plates. And we see inflammation, we see widening of the growth plates, and occasionally we'll even see a fracture of a growth plate, especially the one on the inside aspect of the elbow, where a young player will throw and throw through a lot of pain, and it just takes one hard throw and that growth plate pops right off of the elbow.
And there's not going to be a high school kid on any team anywhere who's going to raise his hand and say, "Coach, I'm tired, take me out." It's never going to happen. The coach has to solicit the input of the catcher and maybe his assistant coaches or whatever and say, "What do you think? Does he still have it? Should we leave him in?" Because the kid's never going to take me out, coach.
A lot of pitchers will have muscle pain around the triceps, the biceps, maybe around the upper aspect of the shoulder, like the trapezius. That is very common. And usually ice, ibuprofen, or some kind of medication to help with that inflammation. And it goes away within 24 hours. It's really the pain in the joint space, in the growth plate in the top of the humerus, or on the inside or outside the elbow. That's the pain that we cannot ignore. And that pain typically doesn't go away after 24 hours of just rest, ice, and some type of medication.
Well, I think as a professional scout, one of the things we're really emphasizing now, because we've seen such a transition to the single-dimensional athlete or the one-sport athlete, we're looking for athletes. We're looking for kids who can do a multitude of different things. Because through the professional organizations, what we've seen a lot of is the fact that if you've specialized in one sport for a long period of time, that you become very proficient in that sport, but are very susceptible to injury. Because if all I can do is hit and throw, all of a sudden, if I'm playing third base and I have to dive for a ball to my left, I'm very susceptible to injury because I haven't cross-trained my body to do a number of different things. I've basically trained my body to do the action specific to my sport.
They're trying to make young athletes one-sport athletes, and I'm against it at the utmost level. And I tell you this, I know that there are 10-year-olds traveling across the country wearing 5 sets of uniforms, playing 80 to 100 games, and I think it's absurd. And I'll be outspoken. I believe the 3 words that have caused the most problems are elite, travel, and select. I realize that there are businesses now that are baseball businesses, basketball, soccer businesses, softball, volleyball, it goes on and on. And I think that that's been a big thing, and they're led to believe by their adults that if they don't, they won't be able to compete at the high school level.
What we want to do is we want to make ourselves the best athlete on the field. All right? And what I mean by that is we have to have the strongest body parts, legs, core, upper body. It's not only important to be strong, but we also need joint mobility. We've got to be flexible. We've got to be flexible in our shoulders, we've got to be flexible in our wrists, our ankles, our knees, our hips. All those things are factors to creating the proper kinetic energy chain to throw a ball with what we call easy power.
Starting months before the season, okay, so really working on scapular stabilizer strengthening. What we mean by that is strengthening around the shoulder blade. So the upper back and the shoulder blade area, increasing core strength, increasing hip strength, making sure we have the proper pitching mechanics, and really pitching from that core and the hips and using the arm as a lever arm and not trying to push through with the arm itself. So if we do those type of things before season, then we can prevent a lot of these injuries.
If you don't have good mechanics, you will have an arm injury at some point in your career. That's what I believe in. We work hard on mechanics here from day one. We work on them every day. We believe in throwing off of 2 feet, using our core to bring our arm through to take all the pressure off our arm.
There has been some press release out there that, a kid that has had elbow issues their parents might believe, or other physicians or coaches believe, that maybe they do need a surgery to enhance their career or prolong their career, and that is not true. The best course of action for any type of injury is prehab. That's take care of it before it happens. And again, that's whether it's pitch limitations, specific pitches, pitch counts, and amount of innings, all work in adjunct together.
We encourage kids to take time off because, one, I think it's extremely important for your arm health to take that time off. The other thing is, I have found over my years, and I bet a lot of other coaches have seen this too, is kids come back stronger after 2-3 months of giving their arm time off and just totally shutting them down. We will see a jump after 2 or 3 months of rest time in their velocity.
Take time off. You need the rest from the ages 10 to 17, 18 years old. You need, when I say rest, I want you not touching a ball for 3 to 4 months. I want that arm resting. I want that body resting. I want you to play basketball, golf, frisbee, it doesn't matter.
The American Academy of Pediatrics, the American Medical Society for Sports Medicine, all have come out and said very strongly that you need a rest break, some kind of rest period throughout the calendar year. We know that if a player pitches more than 8 months a year, they have a 5-time increased risk of an overuse injury. So really having 3 months of consecutive rests, so not just a month here and a month there, but truly 3 months straight of rest for these young pitchers is extremely important.
I believe that our number one priority is protecting the young man or the young lady, whatever the case may be. And I think that the pitch counts that have been incorporated are fair. I think they make sense. I think that the idea of not being able to throw over 105 pitches in a day and the rest periods that have been put in for the number of pitches thrown, to me, make all the sense in the world. Innings, people would say when I was younger, well, he only threw 5 innings or 4 innings. He only threw 3 innings. The matter of fact is, sometimes pitchers throw as many in 3 innings as another pitcher might in 6 or 7.
This is what I'm going to change in my program, and I've given a lot of thought to this. Number one, when a student athlete steps onto the field, they're a pitcher. And in a small school, you'll have females, males, little, big, it doesn't matter, but they're all going to learn how to pitch. They're going to be able to throw off the mound. And in baseball, most of us know if you have control, you're fine. The second would be, as an athletic director, speaking on that behalf, would be the special scheduling that we're going to have to work around. How to schedule doubleheaders, how to schedule 2, 3, 4 games a week, and how to work our pitchers into our own schedule. It will affect us early on, because we probably will not get to the 19 game limit, which is fine, because I really believe you're going to build your program in the summertime.
The things I tell our freshmen when they first arrive as freshmen is that they're all pitchers. That's the very first thing we do. We think it's important to develop the depth, not only for our program, but obviously the health of their arms, and to help them get to the next level.
Nowadays we have club baseball and we have high school baseball, and too often they're at odds. Too often one is not communicating with the other about a particular kid. Too often they're looked at as rivals instead of, they should both be in this for the benefit of the child.
Communicating with parents about their young person doing club ball and or private lessons and high school ball is going to be something that you have to develop between the instructor. You have to find out who the instructor is. You have to find out, because sometimes philosophically, honestly, a coach will not have the same philosophy that his instructor might have, his high school coach. And I think that you have to develop that. I think you have to communicate with that instructor. How many pitches does he throw in a lesson, do you think? How much does he throw live? Is some of it done without a ball? Is all of it done with the ball? Is it a half-hour lesson? Is it an hour lesson? And how much time should be given to this young man between the time he takes a lesson or pitches for a club team before he comes back and pitches for his high school team?
If you put the kid first, you'll do it, and you'll work with the club coach, and the club coach will work with you, and you'll have a great relationship, because it's about the kid, and it's about what's happening with the kid and the health of the student athlete. So that's what my philosophy is. You know, want to work with those club coaches, the parents and everything else, so that we can work through everything and not put the pressure on the kid, and take the pressure not only of physical pressure but the mental pressure off the kid and make the game enjoyable.
Approximately 10% of NCAA Division I baseball players ever go professionally. It's their education that's the #1 factor. Once guys sign professionally, about 4.6% ever get to the major leagues.
Still make the game fun. It's not a job at the youth level or the collegiate level. If the game isn't fun for these kids to go out there and play, they're going to get burnt out. Make sure that their sons have the passion.
The video you just viewed showed you as parents, players, or coaches information on arm overuse and the proliferation of injuries that have threatened a generation of baseball players. I'm Paul Angelico, Commissioner of the Colorado High School Activities Association. CHSAA takes its mission to keep student participants safe very seriously. There will always be injuries, but if all of us, players, parents, and coaches, take responsibility for doing things right when it comes to protecting arms, we will have made a giant step forward for baseball. We here at CHSAA want to wish you all a safe and successful baseball season. Best of luck.